Hi, everyone. I feel like I'm like on top of this camera. Let me see if I can push this back a little bit, or even I can go back a little bit. Hi, it's Dallas Piana from Coaching Scaling Secrets. How's everyone today? If you're just jumping on, say hi below. Tell me where you're from. And if you're watching the replay, just hashtag replay so I can connect with you all after this. So interesting enough, I just finished up this teaching session with some students, helping them launch their Black Friday sales campaigns. And one of my students in there says, Dallas, I've been looking at your YouTube video on when to hire an assistant for over, a year now. And I finally, surrendered and got an assistant, and what a world of difference it's made in my life. And I thought, gee, she watched it 30 times on YouTube, the poor gal. Anyway, I decided, I went back and I looked, and it's been about a year since I talked about your first hire, how to hire an assistant, when is the right time to hire an assistant. So I thought this would be the perfect topic. Hi, Pauline. Perfect topic today to talk about was when to hire your first assistant. Okay. And I have a document that I'm going to share with you in a moment. But for me, when the best time is when you have run out of time, a task so well that you can hand it over and delegate it to somebody else, but manage them and monitor them to make sure that they're doing it efficiently. So what I wouldn't do is, if you're just starting learning how to market and sell online, I wouldn't hand things over right away if you don't know how to do it, because you don't know if they're doing it correctly or not to your standards, so to speak. Okay, so I would definitely want you to learn a task or an activity before you turn it over. So you're just, again, hopping on, say hi. Oh, there's 3 comments already, so let me check this out. Turn this down. Let me see if I can get to them. Hi, Tammy, you made it. Great. Great. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through this worksheet, this document, just because it allows for me to stay on purpose. Okay, or else I'm all over the place. So let me move this down. Let me just get this so you guys can see it. Let me make sure you can see it. Let me move this over. Yeah, here we go. All right, so let's start. So this document is hiring your first assistant. Okay, so it's about finding your assistant, hiring the assistant, onboarding, which is a fancy word in marketing for orientation of your assistant to your business, and the management of an assistant. Okay, so I want to go down to the bottom, and the reason why is because you want to be spending most of your time, once you get the flow of marketing and what are all the activities that need to be happening, you want to really spending your time planning for the year, planning out your masterminds, your workshops, your challenges, if you're doing such a thing. Okay, providing more student or client support, access to you. Okay, supporting on Facebook. Improving your program and developing other programs to teach or sell, as you may well do, and any kind of system improvements. Okay, it's very hard once you get the process down and what the activities are that you need to be doing every day. There are some mundane activities that you can definitely turn over to an assistant so that you can actually do more improvements of the program. Okay, so let's go to the top of this page. And so when and why you want to hire an assistant. Now, assistant online, a lot of them are called VAs, virtual assistant, or you could call it an executive assistant, or it could be, specifically for different tasks. I mean, there are assistants that are more administrative, and then there are assistants that are more social media managers or content managers. There's different type of people that you can hire. I'm talking about the one that is more the executive assistant, your virtual assistant. okay, in this Facebook Live. So why would you hire someone, right? Well, you want to inject more time into your business because time is an issue. That's when you want to start hiring someone. So it frees you up so that you can do something else, right? It's a way to hand over the low-hanging fruit in your business. And it keeps you, think about it, you're going to want to still take vacations or 3-day weekend or, something, you go to a wedding or something like that in the middle of the week. How do you keep your business afloat? You can do those things if you have an assistant that is keeping the momentum going in your company. Okay. And that's why I have hired an assistant. And when you're ready to expand your company, you want to bring on people to assist you. Okay. So basically, to get prepared for this, you want to know what is your vision, your mission, and your core values of your company. And you want to be sure that your assistant knows your intention. Like, what is the goal? All right. Where do you want to take it? What kind of service do you want to provide to your clients? Okay. Then what I would suggest you do is identify what tasks you want to delegate to the assistant. And the best way to do this is for 1 week is to jot down every single thing that you do for your business and how much time it takes you. Okay. Jot it all down and then look at what could you turn over to an assistant. What kind of skills are required for each task. Okay. And then you can decide what level of an assistant you need. Okay. So for me, my assistant starting out did lead generation for me, which is generating leads for me, bringing people over into my space, setting up the first welcome message with them. She also helps me with all my launches. She does all, right now, we've stepped it up. She does a lot of my graphic design for different events. And she's now doing, creating my eBooks. I'll send over the information to her and she is formatting things in Canva for me. So she does a lot of different things, but those are like the chunky things that she does for me. Okay. And what I've done is for the lead generation, I've set up, or even, she uploads, like after this video, she will upload this video to my YouTube channel. She'll put it in the guides area of Facebook. I mean, she does a lot of little things. And so what I did in the beginning is you make a video, and I use Loom, Loom, a short video of the procedure, like how to do it. So as if I'm doing it and I'm talking to the video camera and walking her or any assistant through the steps to complete the task. And then I have a folder of which all these, they're called standard operation procedures that she can refer to. Now she knows, so she doesn't even refer to it. Okay. And she just knows how to do things. You then want to decide how many hours of work do you want to delegate out per week. Okay. So start slow with the workload and then you can rev it up. Okay. So I would recommend start with, nobody's going to want to work for you less than 5 hours a week. Okay. So an hour a day, or you can bundle it all together or chunk it down 1.5 hour, 1.5 hour, half hour, but I like it an hour a day, or certain things she'll do it in batches of time. Okay. But the point is to start slow so that you can keep your eye on them in the beginning. Okay. Is this making sense? All right. So some of the tasks I've already kind of went through some of them that I have delegated, but we'll go through more of these. So lead generation, building an audience, graphic design, creating events in Facebook, the events, inviting people. So she does this every week for me. She invites 1,000 people to an event. She tags people in events. She sets up spreadsheets for me, Trello boards, updates. You can update this assistant can update or upload your videos to YouTube, to your membership sites. optimizing your videos. She can manage your calendar. She can, and I'm saying she, could be he too. She can manage your email inbox. She can send out broadcasts for you. She can manage client contracts, any kind of documents, receipts. She can keep your CRM, which is a customer relationship manager, which is to keep up to date with your people that you haven't sold to yet and you're still in a conversation with. So she can keep that up to date. She can do organic outreach for you. She can do outbound messages, social media posting. If you give her the post for a week, I know people that do that. They set up, they have all their posts ready to go on Sunday, and they have the assistant set it up, ready to go. She can do your customer service for you, scheduling clients' calls, doing interviews, assisting with live launches of any kind, and messaging and responding to inquiries. So, I mean, and there's more. Obviously, there's more, but this is just to give you a sense of what you can delegate out. So I would definitely, like, the onboarding or the training of someone is an orientation to your business. So I would start with a 30-day trial before you're committing to anything, okay? And I would start with 5 to 10 hours a week and do daily check-ins and evaluation of the work. And what I like to do is spontaneously ask, could you do this? And see if they say yes or no. I want someone that is a yes person. Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. I mean, that's like the best. That's what I have with my assistant. She's incredible. So the point is, I've worked with clients that think that, you hire an assistant, or not clients, but people, I've heard this, that, you hire an assistant and you think they should know what to do. They don't know what to do. A lot of assistants are working for several coaches or several different people or companies. So everyone wants it done a different way. So you definitely have to write it out or do a video explaining how you want this done, this particular activity done. And then when you give it to them, you want to check their work right away. Okay, you do not want to wait for a week or 3 weeks and all of a sudden they've been doing 3 weeks of work incorrectly. You want to correct it right away. And they want the correction. They want the guidance. They want the direction. Okay, they want to perform well for you. Okay, so definitely give them the task, give them the video to watch or the written information, and then follow up with them. All right, is what I'm trying to say. Follow up is key. You cannot just let them go. Their pay rate is anywhere from $10 to $25 an hour, depending on the task and the skill sets and where they're coming from. Obviously, I know that people that hire from India and the Middle East and the Philippines can get a less expensive assistant to work with them than someone that you hire from the United States. Is more on the higher end of this price range. Okay, but there are benefits to hiring in your own country. Okay, and in your own time zone also. All right. So if you hire someone that's on the other side of the world, let's say Australia is set from where I live, Portland, Oregon, West Coast of the United States. It's, some areas in Australia, it's 17 hours time difference that they are ahead of me. So it is hard to coordinate things, okay, with that big of a time difference. Even a time difference of 10 hours is difficult. They're sleeping when you're awake, you're sleeping when they're awake. So there's really no, you can't get on a Zoom with them, they're sleeping. So I really would advocate for hiring someone, and then within the United States, if you're in the United States, or if you're in England, within your England, or if you're in Australia, within Australia, so that you can communicate to them on the same time zone. The relationship between the two of you will be a lot smoother. a lot smoother. Okay, so does that, so Tammy and Pauline, so are you guys you both are in the United States, I think, right? Okay, so then, so I went over, definitely you want to review the tasks. You want to, you can even do, if you want to set up like a check off spreadsheet, ask them, to fill it out so you can find out, well, what did you do today? What kind of roadblocks did you come across or obstacles? Did you need guidance, support, or clarification? Did you get it in a timely manner? What needs improvement? A lot of times they'll say, there is a snag in your process. You need this. And you're like, oh yeah, I do need this. So, you want to have an open communication with your assistant because their eyes are fresh on your systems and processes of how you have things set up. All right. And then what's the plan for tomorrow? If for some reason it's not a good fit, and after, you have provided guidance and correction to improve, suggest that the arrangement is not working out and then terminate the arrangement right away. Okay, don't hang on to someone that's not working for you. All right, either in skill or in personality or attitude. If it's not jiving with you, immediately sever the relationship, terminate the relationship, and hire somebody else. Okay, definitely the best advice I can give you. The other thing you want to do is, is to keep them, your assistant happy, is that you definitely, even when they are flying and doing well, working for you, you want to at least once a week get on a live call with them. All right, just as a check-in. How are you doing? What's going on? You can talk about clients. You can talk about what's coming up for the next quarter or the next 6 months. You want to make sure that their calendar jives with yours, especially if they're working with other coaches as well. I mean, everyone is doing launches. So you want to make sure that yours are in their calendar, that they're available. Usually during launches, you're hiring them for more hours to help you during masterminds and launches of workshops and challenges and things like that. So you want to make sure you're on their calendar, that they are available during those times, because those are definitely times. I mean, I think that's when I first hired my assistant. I was doing a workshop, a 5-day workshop, and I knew I couldn't do it all on my own. I had over 200 people in the workshop and I just could not manage it. The behind the scenes on my own. So that's when I reached out, got my Patricia, and then just kept her on. And she's now been working for me for over actually, I had her working for a client of mine. Then she worked for me. And then she's now been working with me for 2 years. So that's the best part. If you can get someone that, bonds with you, jives with you, and that is a stable force in your organization, in your business, that is like the best thing ever, right? So, I would share, if I'm in a training and there is material or information that I think my assistant would benefit from, I'll share it with her. Or I'll say, there was a free training over on Canva. Why don't you go look at it? Or there's this, why don't you go look at it? So I want to keep her skill sets up as well. Okay. And then I also want to start expanding what I hand over to her, because if she was only doing one task for me every day for 2 years, she would become bored. So you want to mix it up. You want to expand. You want to release things over to the assistant so they are doing more for you, so that you can actually think and expand and deal with your clients and grow your business. And a lot of times you cannot do that when you're stuck in the minutia of the everyday activities. Okay. Another thing I want to just bring to your attention, sharing access to your drives and your account. there are password manager companies that allow you to set up guest passes. And one company that I use is called lastpass.com. So that's available to you. Okay. And then just as an afterthought, you may think of hiring, if you're going over 5 hours a week, you may want to hire 2 assistants. So if one gets sick, you have one as a backup that can immediately pull up the slack. Or not, you can decide. But, if you're expanding, I would hire earlier rather than later in your growth of your business, for sure. Okay. Definitely. If you're thinking that you need a, gosh, do I need an assistant? You need an assistant. Okay. Don't wait. I'm going to stop sharing now. If you're going, in your mind, oh, gee, I really need an assistant. If that's coming up for you, like over and over and over again, you need an assistant. And so where do you find your assistant? I didn't cover that. You could, I've had clients that use their teenage children as an assistant. I have had, clients that have used their sisters as assistants or mothers as assistants. So look in your family, like who can help you, okay, that you get along with, okay, because you are going to be the one directing them. So you've got to have a good relationship that they can take direction from you, okay? So not so often does this, you can find a family member that won't defy you. Okay, so you really need to have someone that will definitely be able to take direction from you. All right. So it's sometimes better to go outside the family, right? So you can go into the larger Facebook coaching groups and ask that there's tons of virtual assistants in there looking for jobs. You can ask. And what I would do is have them private message you their resume, and then, go through it and glance and see if they have the skill sets that you're looking for. Okay. If they have only done content development and they don't know how to do other things that you want them to do, you've got to think, do I want to train them, which could be benefit to you because you're training them exactly how you want things done, or do you want someone that has experience in the area? Okay. So, you'll have to weigh it out. You probably, will get a ton of people raising their hands, but you can quickly go through them and eliminate first by where do they live? Eliminate it. Like I said, I would rather have someone in the United States where I live and kind of in my time zone. So my, what is she on? She's on 2-hour difference between our, which is manageable. Okay. Very manageable. But someone that has more of a gap in time in the time zone, it wouldn't be so manageable. So you can start eliminating those that have raised their hands and say they're available based on certain criteria. Okay, so set it up. So that's a way, or you can go on Fiverr, you can go on Upwork. These are kind of freelance, not Fiverr, go on what's it called, freelance.com or Upwork if you want to go to a company, and you can set up a job search there for someone that can help you. Oh, you're kidding. Tammy, do you live in Portland? You just drove up to Seattle. Are you in my neighborhood? So you guys, do you guys have an assistant? Are you looking to hire an assistant? What is happening in your business? Would you let me know? Your son lives here. You're kidding. Lake Oswego? That's where I live. Used to live in Lake Oswego? Oh my God. What, are you from Seattle now? You're thinking about getting an assistant, then it's time to get an assistant. If you're thinking about it, then it's time to get an assistant. Try them out 5 hours a week. There's definitely, you can hand over 5 hours of work a week for sure in the beginning. Oh, you're a travel nurse. Ah, got it. You're in Seattle till March. Okay, great. Yeah. So yeah, many of you have full-time careers and you're trying to build a coaching business on the side. That is definitely a time to turn over some of the repetition, mundane tasks over to an assistant, or else you're going to go crazy, right? You have no time. And just know, when you're building a business, it doesn't matter if you have a full-time job, a part-time job, or you're just trying to you don't work and you're building a business, whatever. It takes a lot of work in the first 2 to 3 years to 5 years to build a business, regardless. Okay. It takes tons and tons of effort and time to build a business. Okay. Even online, especially online. Oh, you have an interview with one today. Yeah, great. Then you can teach her. She's new at it. So great. So you can teach her. Definitely. So the best way is what I'd love to do is use the Loom, because if you teach them, like you get on Zoom with them and you teach them how to do it, and then you say, go to it, she may have to see it a couple of times before it clicks for her. That's why I like doing things in video and then handing over the video to someone so that they can look at it over and over and over again until they get it. Okay. Oh, wow. Great. Get your sister. So that would be, how would that be working with your sister? Which is a good possibility. I tried in the beginning to work with my husband and it did not work out. Okay. But we tried it. It just didn't work out. So he wanted to do his thing and I wanted to do my thing. Oh, she's awesome. So great. See if she'll put in 5 hours of work for you a week. That would be great. All right, you guys, I don't want to keep you much longer. Again, if you're thinking of getting an assistant, if you think it's time, get one. You will be so freed up and you'll think, why didn't I do this sooner? Okay. All right. See you on the other side. Bye.